you have talked about the Bivol rematch next, but you've also said you hope Ramirez wins that fight. And if Ramirez wins that fight, you don't want to fight him because you're both Mexican. So at 68, the best fight looks like you and Benavidez. He's born in America. He's half Ecuadorian. So does he count as Mexican, or that fight can happen if in the future?
I don't know. Anything can happen,
But that won't be a reason why I can hold it up that he's Mexican.
Like when I guys, always I say this, you share that video and put whatever you want. When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico, and that's why. But I don't care. I fight anybody, and I fight all my entire life anybody. What do you think? I don't want to fight with one Mexico or Benavidez. But look, I hear his dad talking a lot of shit. But look, he's accomplished nothing. One single champion, Anthony Dirrell. Please, don't disrespect myself. Please, guys.
What's good, y'all? It's Just Do Boxing back again with another one, man. So what y'all just heard was Clenelo Alvaroids, or Clenelo Alvaroids, as people like to call him. He gave his explanation as to why, what he meant by he's not fighting any Mexicans. And he went on to say that the reason he says that is because he's a Mexican. He represents Mexico. And out of respect is the reason he doesn't want to fight any Mexican fighters. But then he turns around, contradicts himself and said, but any of these fights still can happen. You never know. So it sounds like a lot of excuses and contradictions to me. And no matter how detailed he tried to be and how thorough he tried to be with his explanation as to why he won't fight Mexican fighters, I mean, his whole notion you won't fight him because you're from Mexico is by far one of the most ignorant, ridiculous things I ever heard an athlete say, especially in the sport of boxing. Imagine if Floyd Mayweather said, I'm not fighting any Mexicans, or I'm not fighting any Hispanic fighters. You get what I'm saying? Imagine if he said, I'm not fighting any more black fighters. He would be crucified. They'd nail him to the cross. So I think, when you got Clenelo Alvarez running around with that Burger King crown on his head, pretending to be some king and face of boxing, I have an issue with that, because I just don't see this guy moving to the standard that he's held at. This dude was just in a fight where, a trilogy matchup that he gave us three years later than what it should have been. And he fought a 40-year-old Triple G, and they both look very lackluster. You know what I mean? And I think, my honest opinion, I think this is just a money grab. I think that's the only thing they were really worried about. I think this is the real reason Golovkin accepted this third fight and accepted it at 168 as well. I think he just was thinking about this $20 million that he knew he was going to get the minute the fight was over. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo, on the other hand, he got $45 million for them to basically have a high-level sparring match, if you want to say that. These dudes was in there, but the performances on both ends were so lackluster. It left a lot to be desired, man. It just looked like two dudes that physically are past their primes. Golovkin looked very old. He looked hesitant, slow. You know what I mean? He looked like he just didn't want to engage as much. The only thing he did was come out and throw 1,000 jabs and nothing else. He threw 2.5 right hands for 12 rounds. It's like one of the most ridiculous performances I've seen, and by far the most lackluster performance I've seen from Gennady Golovkin to date. This is the first fight of his that I ever watched where his power was a non-factor, and in large part he nullified his own power by not even electing to use it. So he allowed Canelo to do a lot of bluffing in there and just outwork him and outpoint him. But, no disrespect to either of the fighters. The fight just didn't deliver. In terms of a trilogy, I didn't feel like, this was round 25, you know what I mean, in a trilogy. I just didn't feel like that. These guys went, 12 rounds, on three different occasions, man. And by far, the September 17th, the trilogy was by far the worst out of all three of the fights. Canelo, like I said, he making excuses saying you're not going to fight Mexican fighters. Jose Benavidez Sr., he has some kind words for Canelo. He has some choice words for Canelo. He actually blasted Canelo for his opinion, saying he don't have respect for this guy. He said champions fight anybody. That's what Jose Benavidez Sr. said, and I agree with him. You don't get to demand our money, make $45 million a fight, and pick who you want to fight. And then and in the clip earlier in the video, y'all heard him say, you know, he'll fight anybody. He made it seem like when he say he not gonna fight Mexicans, we take that little clip and we make videos out of it, as we should, because we trying to understand how is a guy that is in demand, a guy that's supposed to be the quote unquote face of boxing, a guy that just got paid $45 million for a 12-round fight, in which he did the bare minimum to win. He did just enough. His reflexes aren't the same. Canelo was only very dangerous, I think, within the first 4 to 5 rounds. I think after that, he kind of simmers down and he goes through the motions and he do just enough to win. I mean, he's very good at bluffing and making it seem like he's working in there, but really he's doing a bunch of senseless movements and not throwing punches. And, you know, both of these guys, their best days are behind them. Simply put, their best days behind them, and there's nobody that could convince me anything different. Yo, these two dudes, you know, I'm glad this trilogy is over. I hope to never see them fight again. I think Benavidez needs his shot. You know, he also has some choice words for Canelo as well. You know what I mean? He said, you know, because according to Canelo, he's saying Benavidez ain't fought nobody. He ain't fought nobody but Anthony Durrell. That's one champion. So, you know, Benavidez responded. He said, how much champions did he beat before Mayweather gave him his opportunity to fight with him? Said this dude is a hypocrite. I guess winning the WBC interim title doesn't mean that you will get a chance to fight for the world title anymore. He said this is really a joke. He said the fans want to see me and Canelo. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to see anything else. Let's get the fans what they want. And I'm right on par, right on cue with David Benavidez. This man has fought back-to-back title eliminators. There's no excuse, no reason in the world why he shouldn't be afforded a chance to compete for those titles at 168 pounds. He shouldn't have to move out the weight class. I've heard people suggest, well, won't he move up? You know, I understand that. But at the same time, he's done everything possible that he can do since losing his title on the scale and outside the ring on 2 different occasions. He's done everything he's supposed to do up until this point to get the fights. But instead, you got people helping Canelo push his narratives about how he don't deserve a fight because he ain't fought nobody. And I disagree with that. I understand it, but I disagree with the whole logic that because he ain't got a whole bunch of world champions on his resume, according to Canelo, he doesn't deserve a chance or an opportunity at those belts. In no way, shape, or form can I condone behavior like this. And simply put, Canelo looked like he finding any and every reason not to fight this young hungry lion, aka the Mexican monster, and David Benavidez. And it's just not a good look. And I'm calling him out on it. And so I ask people, man, is Canelo the face of boxing, or is he a disgrace in boxing? He's not moving accordingly. He using his status, his superstar or celebrity status to avoid quality opposition. Meanwhile, you know, making suggestions as to who each of these fighters should face before they get an opportunity at him. I don't think that's the way it should go. And I'm kind of sick of the mind games. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Canelo, his best days are behind him. Physically, he's not the same fighter. You got to see him against Bivol, where he fought 12 rounds. He made little to no adjustments and was outboxed thoroughly. Then he spent the block, fought Golovkin for a 3rd time in a trilogy that nobody asked for 3 years after the fact, after the second fight. You get what I'm saying? You had Golovkin in there, an old guy that didn't want to pull the trigger. He was second guessing himself. He just looked unwilling to engage. And like I said, I've never seen a boxer nullify his own power by not using it. It's mind blowing. But again, Canelo, get out your feelings. Get off your high horse, take your head out your ass. Boxing don't revolve around you. There are people that want to challenge you for what you got. You should respect David Benavidez for wanting to fight with you, because that's what y'all in it for. Y'all in it to fight the best possible opponents each and every time to get the fans their money's worth. After all, if not for the fans, you're not able to make $45 million in 12 rounds to fight no Triple G in a trilogy where you didn't deserve that money. And I'm a fan of fighters getting their money, but when they deserve it. And I say this all the time, Canelo, you do not get to demand that much money. You make, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it, $45 million, life-changing money, that's generational changing money. And then you get to handpick your opponents too and make excuses as to who you won't fight and why you won't fight them. You gave the dumbest excuse I ever heard in my life. The reason you don't want to fight other Mexican fighters is because you represent Mexico. This ain't the Olympics. This ain't the Olympics. Take your ass to the Olympics with that train of thought. We don't care. We don't care about you not wanting to fight your countrymen. You don't hear no other fighter in boxing behaving this way. No other champion is behaving this way. And Canelo, you making as much money, and you probably can't name a handful of fighters that make as much money as him. Barely 2 to 3. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, Canelo, you owe it to yourself, your fans, your legacy, and the sport of boxing to step in there with the absolute best. Anything less is uncalled for. You might as well relinquish your titles. You might as well vacate the titles. Then Benavidez probably would have no use to want to fight you. So there go a solution to your problem, Canelo, and for the Canelo fans. Y'all don't want to see him face David Benavidez? Tell him to vacate them damn titles, and he won't have to worry about the Mexican monster that he's trying to avoid. But that's my thoughts on it, man. Y'all get in that comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all agree with your boy Just, man. Should Canelo just get in the ring with the Mexican monster, David Benavidez, or do y'all agree with his sentiments that he shouldn't have to fight Mexican fighters because he represents Mexico? Get in that comment section as always, and let me know if I gave Clenelo Alvaroids his just due and that boy David Benavidez his just due, because that's what I do over here at Just Do Boxing. To the next one, I'm out. Peace.